Hey, what is up, guys? I am here to give you a different kind of video. I am going to give you my WWF, that stands for World Wrestling Federation Summerslam 1988 review. This was the first ever SummerSlam. I'm going to go back. I think I announced this in one of my videos that I'm going to go back to each and every SummerSlam and watch every single one of them and review every single one of them. You can check out, though, 2013. That is on the CM Brothers channel. You can check that one out if you want to see the SummerSlam 2013 review. But I am going to go back to each one from 1988 all the way to 2012. I probably won't finish it by this year, though. I probably will finish it soon, though. Not this year, though. SummerSlam's 3 weeks away. I don't think in 3 weeks I can watch each SummerSlam and review each SummerSlam. But I have the WWE Network, so I am going to watch them on there. So let's just get right started. The first ever SummerSlam, obviously this was a big deal for the WWF at the time, well, for the WWE, since it was the first SummerSlam, so yeah, it was a big deal for WWE. They already had WrestleMania, that went really well, and then SummerSlam, let's see how well it went, I'll tell you. It was held in New York City, and it was held in Madison Square Garden. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. We got Gorilla Monsoon and Superstar Billy Graham. Superstar Billy Graham is a former WWE champion. He's on commentary because you're going to find out later on in this review why Jesse the Body Ventura was not on commentary for this show. We got the fabulous Woog Brothers, I think it says. I don't really know how to say their names. And that consisted of... Hold on. Jackie and Raymond Wogie. Wogie. The Wogie Brothers. I don't really know how to say their name. Versus the British Bulldogs, which consisted of Davey Boy Smith, who ended up becoming known as the British Bulldog, I guess, after the tag team was over, and the Dynamite Kid. The Woog Brothers were Canadians, but they were going to end up moving to the United States. That's what I heard from that. And this was a good tag team match. I really liked the back and forthness. The British Bulldogs starts beating up one of the Woog Brothers. I don't really know their names, so you're going to have to bear with me on that. They were just doing double team moves. One part is Davey Boy Smith ended up doing a headbutt to the groin, was awesome. And they just did really good tag team moves, really worked well together. And then one of the Woog Brothers pulls Davey Boy Smith's leg, and he just starts getting dominated from there. They work on the leg, which was good. One of the things they did was one of them held up the leg, and one of them just stomped on the leg while they were doing it. So the Woog Brothers were doing good double team moves, and then the Davey Boy Smith made a comeback, and the Dynamite Kid made a hot tag, and just started going to town. Just started doing everything. One point they did let me think. No, it wasn't that yet. He just started going to town, though, taking out everybody. He was doing, and then eventually he started doing fists to one of the Woog Brothers, and the other Woog Brother did a back suplex. So then Dynamite Kid started getting dominated, and they started working on his head, and they just really did. See, they did good tag team moves, just good simple tag team moves. Throughout points of the match, though, they came in illegally, so when the referee would turn around, they would just come in without a tag, but the referee didn't do anything about it. And then when the Dynamite Kid finally made the tag to the British Bulldog, the referee didn't see a tag, he finally did something about it, which was really weird. But then the British Bulldog got the hot tag, kind of, because he ended up missing a drop kick, so then he kind of got slowed down a bit, so his hot tag never really happened. But then he ended up having a hot tag. He did like a gorilla he took one of the World Brothers over his head and slammed him down like a body. It's like a gorilla press body slam, sort of. And then he took the Dynamite Kid and lifted him over his head, and he did a headbutt to one of the World Brothers. And then, but then the time ran out, because they had like a time limit that they had to use to settle back then. So, nobody won the match, which I was kind of pissed about, because I wish they could have at least given him 5 or 10 additional minutes, because I think they could have at least finished the match. I kind of hated when they would do that. Why not say, we're going to have this match go a 5 or 10 extra minutes? Because I hated that there was no winner, because the match was like a good tag team match, but there was no winner. I kind of wish they could have done something like that. But then the World Brothers took cheap shots, and the British Bulldogs started chasing after them. But the match was good. It was fine. And then, I'm going to tell you how Brutus the Barber Beefcake got injured. He was supposed to have an Intercontinental Championship match against the champion, the Honky Tonk Man. And one of the guys, I don't remember his name. I'm going to look it up real quick. Look under the background. But Outlaw Lon Brass, he just beat the absolute shit out of Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Well, they didn't have Raw back then, whatever show they were on. I think it was called like Wrestling Superstars or something. And he just took like this tool and started choking him with it, beating the crap out of him with it, and it was really bloody afterwards. And they censored it, so you couldn't really see all the superstars. But a bunch of superstars came down, so he ended up taking him out. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit. And then we got Bad News Brown versus Patera. Ken Patera. I thought this match was going to be a squash match, because Bad News Brown looked really strong and Ken Patera just kind of looked like a jobber. But this actually was a good wrestling match. Ken Patera ended up getting a bear hug in on Bad News Brown, which I thought it was in. And he tried to go for the full Nelson a handful of times, but the Bad News Brown kept getting out of it. And then he hit the an Enzuigiri to the back of the head. I forget what he called it. Let me think. I'm just going to look it up real quick. The Ghetto Blaster. To get the victory. So I thought this came off really well. Bad News Brown looked like somebody, though, that could have been a world champion, but never got a shot. But Bad News Brown looked like a monster. I liked it. Then the Mega Powers got interviewed. That consisted of the Macho Man Randy Savage, who was the World Wrestling Federation champion at the time, and Hulk Hogan. And they talk about how they're going to take out the Mega Bucks, which consisted of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Andre the Giant, and Virgil. And Bobby the Brain Heenan was with Andre the Giant at the time, and Virgil was the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase's bodyguard, and Miss Elizabeth, I should mention, was the manager of Macho Man Randy Savage. Good match. Oh wait, the interview. They talk about how they're gonna take out the Mega Bucks, and how Miss Elizabeth is gonna be their plan, because they had a plan, and as the match, when I talk about that match, I will talk about the plan. And then we got Ravishing Rick Rude with Bobby the Brain Heenan. So he had like a bunch of clients back then. Versus the Junkyard Dog. I think the Junkyard Dog's dead. I don't really like saying that, but it's the truth. I don't think he's alive anymore, but wasn't really much. The Junkyard Dog got his headbutts in, and then afterwards, Rick Rude just completely dominated the match. He actually had Ravishing Rick Rude actually had the Junkyard Dog on like his tights. Speaking of which, I wanted to mention this. Why wasn't Ravishing Rick Rude ever like the champion? Why wasn't he ever the WWF champion? Because he had the look that I thought that the WWF would have wanted at the time. He had the Hulk Hogan, the Randy Savage, the Ultimate Warrior look. So I don't know why he never was a world champion. He had the look that they wanted him to have. He had the character. He had the mic skills. He even had the good in-ring work. I don't get why he never was a WWF champion. I thought he could have been a great WWF champion. There's a lot of guys at that time that could have been great WWF champions if given the chance. But Ravishing Rick Rude pulls down his pants, and it's Jake the Snake Roberts' wife on like his tights. And he does a knee drop move onto Junkyard Dog, and he's gonna pin him. But then Jake the Snake Roberts comes out and attacks Ravishing Rick Rude and clotheslines him outside the ring. So Ravishing Rick Rude wins by disqualification. And so and the Junkyard Dog's all pissed about that. I really wouldn't have been pissed because he was gonna lose the match anyway. So yeah, and then so yeah, that's really about it. If they were having a feud going into the show, I don't know why you didn't just have them have a match. But yeah, that's about it. And then the Honky Tonk Man got interviewed. If you've seen it before, I think I touched up on this. He just was like, you know, I want this to be a surprise, and because he still has to defend the Intercontinental Championship, I want it to be a surprise who he faces. All that. I think I talked about this when I did my review of the Ultimate Warrior DVD, which you can check out. And then we got the Bolsheviks, which consisted of Nikolai Volkov, and I forget who the other guy's name was. I should have written maybe his name down. And Boris Zukov. They had Slick in their corner, which was cool. And Nikolai Volkov, as always, performs the national anthem. And they took on the Powers of Pain. And that consisted of the Barbarian and the Warlord. I actually thought they were called the Warlords at first because I heard Warlord, but that wasn't the case. I think I've heard of this tag team. Well, I've heard of the Warlord before, but I never heard of the tag. I didn't know he was in a tag team before. But this match was pretty much kind of a squash. I mean, it took the Bolsheviks a while just to get one of them on the ground. I don't know which one's which. So yeah, and then I think the Warlord did. Oh, by the way, they had somebody in the corner. I forgot to mention. The Powers of Pain had the Barbarian in the corner. And one of the Powers of Pain members, I think Warlord, did a power slam, and the other one did the headbutt for the win. It was just it was an okay tag team match. There was a lot of tag team matches on the show, which was good. Yet they had a good tag team division back then. Kind of like today. I think they, you know. The next thing that happened. The Brother Love show. If you don't remember who Brother Love is, he was Brother Love. He had his own show, and I think his character he was just all about love. And I think he works for TNA now, unless he got released during all this release stuff, as himself. He has a different. I think his name's Jeremy. Not Jeremy Borash. I forget. I know his name, but I just can't remember his name. But he said they had a very special guest that needed to be taught a little something about love, and it's Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He comes out and he just pretty much is like, you need to learn about love. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan's like, no, I don't need to learn about love. And he's like, you need to learn to respect the troops. He's like, if there's anything I respect, it's the troops and their freedom of speech. Because every time I go, oh, that shows that we have freedom. And he gives him to the count of 5 to leave the ring, or else he's going to hit him in the head with this 2x4. And the Brother Love's trying to talk him out of it, but when he gets to 4, he bails, and that was about it. And they actually played his music throughout the whole talk show segment, so I thought the segment was pretty good. It was fine. And Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart defending the Intercontinental Championship against Ultimate Warrior. I already talked about that in the Ultimate Warrior DVD review. No, I actually talked about that in the Ultimate Warrior tribute week I did. When the WWE Network did the tribute thing, it was one of the matches that came on the show, so talk about that. And then we got Don Muraco. Well, yeah, Don Muraco versus Dino Bravo. I think that's how you say his name. With Frenchie Martin. I think I heard of these guys. I've heard of Don Muraco before. I think he was I don't think he was the champ. I think he was the IC champ before, but I heard of the name before. And this match was okay. I didn't really like it too much. Don Muraco gets distracted by Frenchie Mountain. I thought that was his name. I had to double check. And Dino Bravo capitalized and beat him with a sidewalk slam for the win. That was about it. Bobby the Brain Heenan came out though and did commentary. I thought the match was fine though. It was a decent match. And they promote Dino Bravo like he's like the world's strongest man, which I think is fine. And then Jesse the Body Ventura got interviewed, and he talked about if he accepted the money that Ted DiBiase gave him, and he was like, "Of course I accepted the money." And then he was like, "Are you gonna help treat them out of the match?" He's like, "I don't know." That's about it. And then we got Demolition, which consisted of Axe and Smash, with Mr. Fuji and Jimmy Hart defending the WWF Tag Team Championships against the Hart Foundation, which consisted of Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. I like it. I actually like Demolition. I like the theme song. Here comes the Axel. Here comes the Smash. I remember I think they were in WWE 12. And I would face them a lot. And when I was in tag team matches, I would make my own superstar. Me and Adam would make our own superstars, and we would always face them in tag team matches. We had this epic tag team feud with them. I think they were in the story mode too, when they were doing that WCW invasion angle. So I really I like them as a tag team. And I like that I got to see them finally wrestle for the first time. The Hart Foundation, obviously. I think Jimmy Hart used to be their manager. I guess he betrayed him somehow. They didn't really show that, which I think they should have. So, the Hart Foundation, starts dominating, and then, one of them, starts weakening Bret Hart's arm. Demolition just starts working over the arm, just starts dominating Bret Hart, and then he gets and doing this, Jim the Anvil Neidhart chases Jimmy Hart, out of the ring, and then, Jim the Anvil Neidhart gets the hot tag. He actually ends up slingshotted himself out of the wind onto I'm gonna say Smash, and then Bret Hart ends up becoming the legal man, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart's getting distracted because it's kind of a numbers game because there's two managers and another tag team guy that one of the Demolition members he has to worry about. So he is going off on Axe and one of the Demolition members, and Mr. Fuji, which I didn't know Mr. Fuji. I thought he only managed Yokozuna, but I guess not. But he takes them out, and Jimmy Hart runs back out, hands one of the Demolition members the megaphone, and hits Bret Hart in the back of the head with them, and the legal one pins Bret Hart, and they retain the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships. I like the tag team match, though. I thought it was fine. And I like the way they ended it, with Jimmy Hart screwing him over. And then the Honky Tonk Man got interviewed. Again, he's just pretty much pissed that he lost the Intercontinental Championship. We got Big Boss Man with Slick versus Coco Beware. It was pretty much a squash match. Boss Man wins with a wins a change move that Wade Barrett does. And then he hits him with a nightstick afterwards. Why is Coco Beware in the Hall of Fame? Because every match I've seen him have, it's been a squash match. I think he was a jobber. Actually, he was a jobber. So why is Coco Beware in the Hall of Fame? They pretty much just put a jobber in the Hall of Fame. He didn't accomplish anything. So I don't know why Coco Beware's in the Hall of Fame. Like his music, but he was pretty much a jobber. Maybe he could have been something, but no, he was a jobber. He was like, you're going to be jobbed out all the time. And then the Ultimate Warrior gets interviewed, talks about his journey to get in the Intercontinental Championship, and says that he just took the opportunity and ran with it pretty much. And that's about it. And then we got Hercules versus Jake the Snake Roberts. Thought this was an okay match. I don't think Hercules was that great, but he did fine. I think mainly the match, though, was just good because Jake the Snake Roberts, he has like a uniqueness style when he wrestles. He's kind of like Bray Wyatt's actually like him. He's more psychology wrestling. He knows how to get inside the opponent's head. And obviously, he came out with Damien. That's his snake that he would have in the bag. And like when Hercules, which I don't know why they have a wrestler named Hercules when they already have when they had a Disney movie called Hercules. I thought that was kind of strange, unless it wasn't out yet. I don't know why, but anyhow, like he went for the sidewalk slam, and normally they just kick him in the head, but Jake the Snake Roberts did like a headlock takedown to him, which was cool. But Jake the Snake Roberts ends up winning with the DDT. You know, I like that he really is the one too that invented the DDT. So it's just like it was his finisher. Now it's just a plain old regular move now. So when he does the DDT, it feels special. And then he puts Damien on him. I'm surprised we didn't get a Ravish and Rick Rude attack here, though. I was expecting him to come out. I think they should have done that. But I thought the match, I guess, was okay. It was just kind of eh. Like, Jake the Snake Roberts knows what he's doing when he's wrestling. He's got like that psychology mind when he wrestles. And then we got the Mega Bucks with Bobby the Brain Heenan and Virgil versus the Mega Powers with Miss Elizabeth. And we had Jesse the Body Ventura as the special guest referee. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the build-up to this match. So, Randy Savage, I think, had just won the title, and then Andre the Giant looked like he was going to challenge him for the championship, but Ted DiBiase attacked him. They went to this like spot on the side when they would go interview people, and they just attacked Andre the Giant, and the Mega Bucks just started attacking him, and Virgil would force Miss Elizabeth to watch, and then Randy Savage challenged him to a tag team match, and he said he's going to reveal his tag team opponent. The Mega Bucks accept, and Randy Savage reveals that his opponent's Hulk Hogan, and we found out that the president Tim Tunney announced that Jesse the Body Ventura was going to be the ref, and then it shows the Brother Love segment when the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase bribed Jesse the Body Ventura so he would help them win the match, which I thought was fine. And then we get the match itself. I thought it was fine. Jesse the Body Ventura was acting like the ref. He has the managers go. We know where the managers go. The funny thing I thought though was he switched the tag ropes, which I thought was funny. Like normally you see them go on like a certain point when they do the tag matches, but they changed it up this time. Really, Ted DiBiase does all the selling in the on the Mega Bucks team. He just takes out everybody. Like he gets taken out a lot by Hogan and Savage. He does most of the selling. And then Andre the Giant started dominating Hulk Hogan. The Mega Bucks dominated him. He actually took off like a strap that he wears and started choking Hogan with it. And Jesse the Body Ventura didn't do anything about it. And then Randy Savage made the hot tag, and then he got dominated. He did some good stuff. The axe handle, the crossbody, and then DiBiase just took control with a clothesline, and Andre the Giant started doing splashes, and then eventually he gets the hot tag on Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan starts going off on the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and then Hulk Hogan's getting ready to body slam him. Andre the Giant headbutts him, and earlier, before that happened, Randy Savage tried to give the elbow to Andre, but he had moved out of the way, so he takes out both Hogan and Savage on the outside, and then Miss Elizabeth gets up on the apron, and remember that plan that I talked about? I think this was the plan. She takes off, she was wearing a dress, and she takes off the skirt to distract Jesse the Body Ventura, and because she was hot, and this distraction was long enough that Hogan and Savage can make a comeback. Savage hits the elbow on Andre, and Hogan hits the leg drop, the big boot and the leg drop on DiBiase for the win, and then they celebrate afterwards. It was a happily ever after. And that was the end of the first SummerSlam. My thoughts is I really liked this SummerSlam. I actually liked the first SummerSlam. Thought it came off really well. I thought they did a good job selling the SummerSlam. Feels like they didn't go all out as they did with the first WrestleMania, but they did enough to keep it going today. They did enough. They did a good job. I liked the opening tag team match, and I liked the main event, but everything else was passable. I liked the. I actually didn't mind the Ken Patera and Bad News Brown match. I almost said Bad News Barrett because that's what it's called today, but he's Bad News Brown. I liked the tag team matches with the Hart Foundation versus Demolition, and I liked that big moment Ultimate Warrior won his first singles title, and that pushed him up to superstardom. I already talked about that, so I'm not gonna go into detail with that. So I like this year's SummerSlam. The highlight was probably Ultimate Warrior winning the IC title. That was probably the highlight of the show. But and that's really about it. So all I have to say is subscribe to this channel and all the other channels down below, and peace out.